And for me, probably one of the most important things is the fall of Afghanistan. That was a tough time, Pat. Um, I couldn't believe it. As someone who's been to Iraq myself, I've got family members who've been to Afghanistan multiple times, right? Um, Trump made a deal with terrorists, with the Taliban. You know, he did his whole, oh, we'll just make a deal thing. You had the elected government of Afghanistan, and then you had the Taliban who murder and rape and treat women like slaves and cattle. And he decided, oh, I'm just going to make a deal with them that as long as they don't attack me on my way out so I can look good and get reelected, right? I read through the Doha agreements, every fucking word, excuse my language, whether every word of that. Basically, the whole thing was as long as you don't attack America, we're just going to go ahead and pull out and you're going to be able to co-rule this country. How did the government feel? The government wasn't even involved in this plan.
Hold on a second. This is where I have the huge issue with this. Is the only way they would co-rule is if their government allowed it. And my point is,
that's the point. They didn't. They weren't even involved in the negotiations.
Well, maybe they should have gotten off their ass and figured out how to kick the ass of the Taliban for the 20 years.
They have been.
Well, and clearly
you can't do it in 20 years.
How long does it take?
It takes 50 to 100.
And so we're going to sit there in Afghanistan for 50 to 100 years? Are you kidding me? No.
That doesn't mean you're saying because of that we should let the terrorists co-rule the country?
Why would there's no letting them?
No, there is. Trump, that was the whole point of the Doha agreements. They were allowing the Taliban to co-rule the country. And that's what he did.
But the whole point was they're saying is Afghanistan is there's no winning there. The terrorists will always win. The only way the terrorists won't win is if we're there. That's it.
Yeah, disagree 1,000%.
I mean, how long does it take? I mean, we were in there for over 20 years, and they couldn't take care of the Taliban on their own in that period. I mean, we had people go over there, and it's like they're trying to. We go over there, try to train them, try to teach them, and they're just they show up when they want, they leave with it, but like they didn't care because we were their protector. And so at some point we have to sit there like, look, we need to come back home. This should be you. We don't ask you guys to come to our country and protect us. Why should we sit there and help you? We've been there for 20 years. At some point, we've got to be able to say, okay, we're done. You guys got this from here. And
And I agree with that, but that's a process. We just pulled everybody out. That was a wrap. There should have been multi-year long stages where we pull back more support.
That's what we were doing.
Everything at once, Pat.
Well,
everything.
We pulled the last,
all of it at the end. They didn't have air support. They were promised air support. I don't know if you ever heard that call of Biden talking to the president, where the president's saying, "Hey, we're losing the war," and Biden says, "Make it appear like you're still winning." Also talks about how he was going to continue to give him the air support. That stopped. That was a whole lie.
Yeah, okay. I'm not disputing any of that. I don't know about that piece. I guess I think overall my issue is we didn't have nearly as many troops when we left as we did in the heat of the battle. So we were already, bringing people home and not replacing them. But I think we did. But at some point, we just had to pull them all out. I just don't think Afghanistan. We realized that Afghanistan wasn't winnable, and really the funny thing about Afghanistan. I'm not saying we shouldn't have gone in there and attacked because there were terrorists, but like the reason we went to Afghanistan was because of 9/11, and where were the terrorists operating out of? Pakistan.
No, there are tons of terrorists in Afghanistan. Pat.
But the ones that we were fighting, the ones that were responsible for 9/11, they're operating out of Pakistan. And so it was just, we went in there, just Afghanistan. Russia tried going in there and overtaking. It's unwinnable. It's an unwinnable war. And the only way that country would have stayed, where their government would have stayed in power, is if we stayed there. But as soon as we leave, it was inevitable. And I just don't think that's just like, why are we wasting time, money, soldiers' lives, keeping people away from their families for 6 months, 9 months, a year to go sit in there for a country that just can't take care of themselves. I'm sorry. It's just, I mean, for 20 years, that's how long your kid lives with you. For 20, and so we had a whole, like, these people should have had a whole nother generation of soldiers and support to be able to do this. And
But imagine
they failed.
generation after generation of generation that's radicalized to begin with. That's the whole point.
But
That's
that's
why
not
I
our
said
problem.
it is our problem because we made it our problem, Pat. Once we were there, it was our problem. And it was our job to make sure that we didn't allow all the men and women who'd served beside us to get raped, murdered, and their whole families massacred.
For
Like what happened
20
when we
years,
left.
we did that.
Yeah, Pat, you can't just pull the rug out of someone. Here's the analogy I'll give you, right? Let's say I'm teaching my son how to ride the bike, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm holding on to the handlebars, right? While he's riding. He's like, Dad, I'm getting it. Dad, I'm getting it. Dad, I'm getting it, right? Now, maybe the next stage of that is, right, he's doing it, but I'm not holding on the handlebars now, right? Maybe I'm hovering, right? I'm allowing him to control, but I'm here, right? At any moment, I'm ready to grab that handle if it goes off the rail, right? That's not what we did here. With Afghanistan, we said, good luck, son. And we literally just turned and marched the other direction while our son is barreling down the freaking hill at 1,000 miles per hour. Obviously, he smashed into a tree. He wasn't ready for it. That was the whole point. Maybe it only took 2 more years, Pat. Maybe it took 3. There was a right way to get out, and there was a wrong way. And the wrong way is siding with the terrorists to let them rule the country. What has happened? 20 million women are slaves now, Pat. 20 million. The majority of all the men who work for us, they're all dead. Their families, they're all dead. They're all massacred. Now, women, they can't vote now. They can't drive now. They can't even leave the house without written approval. They're not even allowed to show their faces in public now.
It's horrible.
It is the worst thing, and we did that. Joe Biden did that. Donald Trump did that.
But let's use your analogy.
Mm-hmm.
If it took 20 years for your son to ride a bike, you let it go. That's my point.
Well, that's tougher.
It's
that's tougher because it's such a different situation.
I got it, but it's just I just think for 20 years, it was long enough. That's just what I think. We were just there, and to your point, absolutely everything you mentioned about what's going on there, horrible, absolutely. But I can name 20 other countries that's just as bad, and we're not in there.
We don't throw people off the deep end. You throw people into the deep end, they drown almost every time.
But at what point?
Ease them in, Pat. That's the whole point.
But
keep going and you keep going until you're at that good place where you can let them in. You're saying
there's never
we should just no. You're wrong, Pat. I'm sorry. I disagree with you 1,000%. You're just deciding because we didn't have that version. Why didn't we continue to have air support for another year while Biden was watching the Taliban move from town to town, city to city, raping, slaughtering, murdering everyone. These giant convoys. Boom, one button, it was over. One command, it was over. Each time. And we watched, I know because I watched it. I watched town after town, city after city fall. I watched people in their basements saying they're coming to kill us right now and my family. It was heartbreaking for me. We just pulled the rug out of these people. There was a right way to get out. There's a right way to get in. There's a right way to get out. We're just saying we pulled the rug out. We're saying, oh, we can't be there forever. We didn't need to be. But there was a right way to pull out.
I think that...
And we allowed those terrorists to murder their way across the entire country. Trump didn't do that. That was on Biden's watch.
I just think that I trust the judgment of the people that were in charge. And I'm sure it wasn't... I believe, and I've read that, even all of the military strategists, all the generals and stuff, I mean, they all said, you can't win. No matter how many more years, and that's that. And we're going to agree to disagree, but I don't think there was ever a winnable. I don't think if we stayed in
convoy. Let's take the convoy scenario, right? Joe Biden's taken power now, and all of America and all the world has watched this army, right, amass, and they're going from town to town, city to city, rape, murder, mayhem, the worst of the worst, killing all the guys that we bled with, that we fought alongside, right? you're the president of the United States, what would you do? Would you just let them continue like Joe Biden did? Or would you blow them? Do you have to think about it?
But I don't have the intel that he had. That's the thing. We don't know.
They're terrorists who rape and murder, and they're going to stone their enemies to death.
But
and they're going
again,
to make every single woman, mom, sister, cousin, slaves when they're done.
okay, but
We know what
I
it looks
got
like
it.
when they're in
And
power.
my response is, okay, and we can't save everybody.
Oh,
and
that's gross, Pat.
Yeah,
Please forgive me. That's gross.
No,
you
but
can't
like,
save everyone. We've
Micah,
we've been working with these people side and side, and now we're watching them all get raped and murdered. And you're like, we shouldn't save. We can't save everyone. That's insane.
But the whole world is filled with that.
If we're watching 10 guys walk down our street right now,
we're in
and
America.
we know they're
totally
going to rape and murder.
No, totally different. Totally different.
And you're saying we can't save everyone?
No, I disagree, because this is our country. This is our country. That's the difference. That's why I'm saying we can't.
That's some cold-hearted shit.
No, but
we
have. I mean, how many countries out there that are doing it all? And if we
weren't in those other countries.
But why don't we go in them?
We had integrated with these people. We were side by side with these people. These interpreters, they sat with us, right? The people fought, they bled and died alongside us. Do you understand? They were our brothers. They were our sisters.
And
they
you know what?
depended on us, and we let them all get raped and murdered.
I feel that they should have done better for themselves. I'm sorry, but like they should have.
I'm not disagreeing with that. But you're giving America a pass. We didn't need to do any better. It was okay for us to let them get raped and murdered and slaughtered.
All right. Let's move on to something else. We're never gonna agree.